Good evening and welcome to ChatzNightz.
Hi.
What's up, you slugs?
Hey, you friggin' snails without shells.
Whoa!
Yeah, you better put a shell on.
Put a shell on. It's cold.
Yeah, you better put a damn shell on if you want to survive this onslaught
Of love.
this love onslaught.
The love onslaught. The love onslaught. I keep the love. Oh, that's a good name for a song. Magellan.
Hey, man. What's up?
You came back from South Korea.
Yeah, I just got back a little less than a week ago.
Boy, are my arms tired.
Boy, are my arms.
I just got that joke recently.
What?
I'm sorry, I was not. I don't have it every reason.
No.
Because you flew with your hands.
Yeah. That's the joke of that joke. Is it's the most obvious joke.
Like, duh. Boy, am I? Yeah. It makes sense in hindsight, but
oh no! I also just got something recently, but now I can't remember what it is.
Chlamydia?
Yeah, I think it was chlamydia.
Checks self. He self-examines.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was. I'll remember. Anyway, yeah, I got back from South Korea. We thought maybe that we could talk about it here on the show on ChatzNightz.
Nights.
And then release it as a very special teaser for everybody to check out what Nights is all about. This twice monthly released. Twice monthly released bonus content. Speaking of twice, before we talk about South Korea, we're going to watch a recent music video by the K-pop group Twice called Fancy.
This song came out on April 18th. Nope, it came out April 22nd. The music video was, I guess, filmed or something on April 18th. Yeah. Whatever. It's called Fancy. It's the lead single off of their new album, Fancy You. I like it a lot. Magellan has not heard it or seen it yet.
Weirdly, because I was in South Korea when it came out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's perfect. You probably walked right by your favorites.
Yeah.
Let's watch it together. So just, if you can, at home, pull up the Twice Fancy music video. Magellan, I sent it to you in the Skype chat.
Yeah, I've got it.
Frick yeah. Ow. I hurt my ear infection.
Okay.
Ow.
Oh, no.
Ow, baby. I can't, make
bro.
Yelling. It's bad. All right, cool. I would keep the volume low so you can hear me screaming over it because I'm going to be screaming about certain parts.
All right.
And let's get it popping. Wait, let me get this in 4K, please. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you for offering your K-pop in 4K. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, play. Yes. Here we are. There's the girls.
All right. I like this the beat so far.
Yeah. Oh, it goes places.
I was let down by the last Twice video, so I'm skeptical right now.
Oh, the Christmas one?
No, there's another one. Okay, this is pretty groovy.
Oh, Yes or Yes? Yeah, Yes is all right.
Yeah, Yes or Yes.
I love the visual of this so much.
This is a beautiful video.
It really is.
I love the intentionally very weird color choices.
Oh yeah, look at this. Like, she's holding up the planets with balloons.
as balloons. That's cute.
Yes.
And the dance is actually good.
Oh, dude, it goes places. Give it a sec. Right here. Hold on. That's the finger move of the year. There's your favorite. Oh, man.
Yeah. They're kind of doing... Didn't they do that sort of point in another one?
They do they do like finger point stuff all the time.
Yeah, we got a good rap.
SOS. Paper clips? Sure. Let's see. Austin Powers, true throwback.
That's cool. The upside down swings one.
Yep, it's fantastic. This part's great. It's just them hanging out on a roller coaster. Yay! Yes!
That's great. That's a good one.
Yep, that's a winner?
Oh, that's just solid all the way through. It's not gonna, it's not taking you by the lapels and taking you on a ride necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not bad. It's like just solid, good.
It's just good. It's well done. I agree. I think the outfits are really good. The aesthetics fucking amazing. Everybody gets a good part, which is always nice. It's not like extremely biased towards a couple people. It's just good. It's a good time.
Adding it to my playlist for the week.
Frick yeah! Oh, you're still doing that?
Sort of, not as I have to catch up. I mean, I try to make a playlist of 25 songs a week, some of them that I come across, and then based on those, use those songs to inspire a full playlist where I may research other things. So I have the seeds of the last few, but I haven't fully fleshed them out.
I mean, if you just want to fill that playlist with K-pop, I have playlists that you can yank from.
Yeah, I kind of like the exercise of taking songs from somewhat disparate genres and trying to construct it in such a way that it feels cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the exercise, so it's not like this week's the K-pop week. It's maybe there's K-pop songs in one that's otherwise Duke Ellington.
Oh, fuck.
Something, I don't know. Anyway. Cool. Well, hey, so I was in South Korea. You want to hear about it?
That's what we're paying. That's what they're not paying for.
Yeah, but you could be paying for it.
Patreon.com/ChatzPod.
I went on a school trip. So the school that I work at does international trips, one for every grade level. And it's partially paid for by fundraised money, and partially the students pay a little bit of their own way, but not too much. Also, our school teaches Korean as a foreign language. I might have just given you enough information for you to find out the organization I work for. I'd prefer if you didn't.
Don't do that.
You don't need to be creepy about it. Just let me live my life. Thanks. I mean, you can look it up, but don't use it to find me or something. You also probably could have found it out by Googling my name, so I guess it's not a big deal. Anyway, I also did used to make a podcast where I literally chronicled everything about my life. So, anyway, so we teach Korean as a foreign language at our school. And the Korean government does this thing where they give money to schools that teach Korean, which I think is really interesting as a way to I guess spread the word about Korea.
The good word.
So part of the trip was paid for by Korean government and corporate money. Anyway, So it was like a week-long trip, me and 3 other adult chaperones and 21 students, 11th graders. So we leave on a Thursday in the morning. The flight is 14 hours long. It's a direct flight from New York to Seoul.
You said 14?
14.
Wow.
The longest flights I've ever been on in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've flown a ton between the coasts or within the United States, so I've been on plenty of like 6-hour flights, 6-hour flights, and then
once you cross an ocean, it like doubles though, or triples sometimes.
Yeah, and then I went on the school trip to Italy last year with the 9th graders. So when we flew to Germany, I think that was maybe 7 or 8 hours at most. But 14, I've never been on one that long. But it kind of doesn't feel that much longer than a 6-hour flight.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, because you sleep the same
right.
percentage. You actually probably sleep more. And so the amount of time that you're awake is actually fairly similar if you're able to sleep on a flight. I've gotten to the point where I can knock out pretty quickly on an airplane. Some people maybe have more trouble doing that, but we did it. We have one student who it was her first time flying. She'd never flown anywhere before, so her first flight is like a 14-hour flight to South Korea.
Shit.
And
welcome to planes.
Yeah, and she was saying that it was like her biggest fear, and other students who had flown before but not flown very much had been like, "Oh, your ears are gonna like pop," and she's like, "What?" Like, imagine you're
the
in
first
high
time
school,
someone tells you that thing,
and like all of your friends are like, "Your ears are gonna pop." Like, what the fuck?
What?
What the
Why?
fuck does that mean?
Permanently or like, yeah.
And so they're all like, "You're gonna want to bring gum and chew a lot of gum." So it was so sweet. I loved it. So we're like taking off. She's chewing a big wad of gum and has like her phone out videoing this experience of like, all right, I'm on the plane, like chewing my gum.
That's so cute. Oh my god.
It's so endearing. And then by the end of the flight, she was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Everyone was making like a huge deal out of nothing. And it was totally fine. And I was like, yeah, they just wanted to look like they knew stuff. So we have this long flight. We get to the airport in Seoul. We leave Thursday morning and we arrive Friday evening because of the time change. We cross the date line. And the time difference is like 13 hours. So I keep doing this math of like, oh, it's 5 p.m., but back in New York, it's like 4 a.m. right now.
Wow, right.
Yeah. So we show up, and this whole trip we have like tour guide people with us who like work for an organization that brings Americans around, and we like get bussed around everywhere that we're going because there's this government corporate money that's making it possible. So it's a very particular travel experience. It's kind of cushy, and to balance that out, you're responsible for the lives of 21 teenagers. So some things are like totally stress-free, and some things are like, oh my god.
All the way stressful.
Yeah. We have dinner, and it's like I don't even remember what we had, but we had a few different things. Throughout the trip, we had a lot of kimchi.
Oh, yeah.
They eat kimchi with almost every meal over there.
Yeah.
I learned that we learned that there's like a kimchi day traditionally where Korean families prepare kimchi, and they'll prepare like 30 heads of cabbage worth of kimchi on a single day, and then like put it in a special kimchi refrigerator to be eaten over the course of months. It used to be that they would do that like at harvest time and then bury the kimchi in the ground over the winter so that it didn't spoil, which is pretty interesting. They'd like put it in jars and bury it in the ground. Anyway, so we had like kimchi. We had a lot of bulgogi, which is like a beef thing.
I think I've heard of that.
We had Korean barbecue on the last day.
Fuck yeah.
So stuff like that. Lots of vegetables in the Korean diet, like lots of vegetable side dish things. So let's see.
Remind me what day you arrived?
So we arrived on Friday. So about 2 weeks ago at this point.
Okay.
And we wake up on Saturday. We kind of just get dinner on Friday. And then on Saturday, the kids do this thing where they do a scavenger hunt with all these college students, which is really fun for them. So they go around Seoul and learn about Seoul.
Oh, that's cool.
And
yeah.
Meanwhile, the like adult chaperones of my school and another school were like, let's go get massages. And I was like, I'll go with you, but I'm not doing that. So they all got massages, and then me and the guy who like organized this whole thing on our side, we went and got ice cream, which was nice, and walked around Gangnam. I was there.
Oh.
The Gangnam style Gangnam.
Nice area?
Yeah, it's sort of like it's very Manhattan-y.
Huh. Oh, very like urban.
Yeah, it's the way that it was described to me was that it was like the Fifth Avenue of Seoul, like kind of a place where people go shopping.
Yeah.
If they've got some cash. So yeah, I wasn't like blown away. I wasn't like, oh my god, it's so ritzy, but it's a nice area. And then we experienced the like subway system of Seoul, which is huge. Like it's the thing that I was struck by being there is just the scale of cities in Asia that we don't really think about in the U.S. Because in New York there are like maybe 7 million people. In Seoul it's like 9.7 million. And it feels like a city that has the sprawl of Los Angeles, where you kind of, there's a lot of highways moving through the city and you have to drive for a long time to get from one part of the city to another part. So it's got the sprawl of LA, but it's got the height of New York throughout like the whole thing.
Jeez.
So it's huge.
So it's wide and tall.
Yeah, basically. And I didn't anticipate it to feel as big as it felt. But then also they have this subway system that's huge and like functions well and is beautifully clean, and it was very impressive. So yeah, we do that. Then we link back up with the students and we go to this it's called a broadcasting theme park, which is really just like a kind of interactive museum place for this broadcasting company called MBC in Korea, and I guess they do a lot of TV.
I've definitely heard that or seen that like name before.
Yeah,
I know KBS and NBC are the big ones over there.
Yeah, and we basically, it's honestly the way that all media companies should do their like museum-y places. Like I think NBC in the US could learn a lot from it, because I think people go to 30 Rock being like, oh my god, this is like where SNL is and whatever, and then they
so
get there,
disappointing,
and it's like a gift shop
basically.
and people are like, oh, Okay. And I guess you can book a tour of the studios maybe or something, but it's just not a very interactive tourist experience.
Yeah.
This place was like, we have a holographic K-pop concert. We have this room full of cutouts that you can take a picture with, but if you download the app, then they're all augmented reality
AR.
pictures.
That's sick.
And then one of them is like a Korean actor guy who's about to get eaten by a T-Rex, and the AR version is like this huge T-Rex that comes out of the wall, and you're supposed to like look at it like, oh my god. Another one is like all these Korean comedians on a roller coaster. It's just, it's crazy.
That's really
because
cool.
all they did was they put a bunch of cardboard in a room, and then they made it augmented reality, and now it's like a thing that people can come and do and have these pictures. And then they had another part that it was like these booths with where you could like sit on a couch and pick your favorite Korean celebrity, and it would look on the screen like they were sitting on the couch next to you and like putting their arm around you, being like, oh, let's take a picture together. It's a bunch of shit like that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And then what else did they have there? They had this area where you could like try out virtual reality. They had this part where it's so funny. They had like a little green screen, and they had a script for a TV broadcast, and you just had to like get your friends to play the parts and read the script as if you were doing the news.
Huh. Yeah.
So that was really fun to watch the kids do that and like do their newscaster voices and stuff. Then we did some shopping, and Korea's just full of like products that I didn't anticipate seeing. Like face masks are huge.
Oh
like
yeah, Korean face masks is you can. It's becoming a big thing over here now too. It's like a big export.
Yeah, and all the adult chaperones were like, "Oh my god!" And all the kids too were like, "I got to get some face masks." Yeah, I was like, "What? It's a thing? What is this for? What do these do?"
It's like moisturization and exfoliation, all that stuff. Yeah,
I just didn't even know it was a thing. Then there are these, emoji stores for like Kakao, which is the messaging app that everyone uses and that we were using. So now I know all the Kakao characters, and I have a pen with the duck character. His name is Tube, and he apparently gets mad sometimes. I guess sometimes he's really.
I've
angry.
seen this guy, the angry little with the white.
Yeah, Tube.
Yeah, you gotta love Tube.
You gotta love Tube. So that was Saturday. Then the next day, Sunday, we go. That's our day that we go to the DMZ. And we were supposed to go to the joint security area, which is the the blue house where people have the meetings.
Yeah.
But that was closed because I guess there's going to be a summit there soon or something. So we go to the stuff that's near the DMZ that's like touristy things. And dude, near the DMZ, this country's so strange. There is like a little amusement park. There's like a little place with like teacup rides and like a little roller coaster and like a whatever.
What? Like
a stone's throw from the border.
Hell yeah.
You said hell yeah? You're saying hell yeah to that?
Hell yeah, what's the word? Hell yeah, dystopia. There it is.
And I guess the idea, unless I'm misunderstanding what the places were that we went to, is that this is supposed to be like the place where families reunite when the countries reunify.
Yeah. So they want to make it like an attraction. Yeah. Like once you're here with your family who you haven't seen because of the fucked up political situation.
Yeah,
check out these teacups.
It's so weird. And then we went to this train station that is like this beautiful new looking train station that is supposed to be connected to North Korea, but the border's not open. So right now it's just empty. It's this totally functional, beautiful train station that is not
go
used
anywhere
at all and doesn't go anywhere.
Oh my god, that's fucking scary.
Yeah. And it's like as soon as we reunify, like boom, we're ready. We've got the train station.
So they know that they're gonna,
yeah,
but they're not. That's so wow.
And I just like, and then there's a part where we went where there was like a fence, and you could like write your hopes for reunification on a ribbon and tie it to the fence.
I've seen this. Yeah.
And I just felt really conflicted about it, and finding it hard to understand how South Koreans feel about North Korea, because this is like a horrible dictatorship that is brainwashing its citizens and holding them captive within its borders. And the way that they're thinking about it is like, yeah, but one day we'll all be one big happy family again.
Well, so I think there's a couple things. One, it would probably be a bad look if people in South Korea were like, can't wait for you guys to get out of that nasty dictatorship, because then they wouldn't. Yeah. Because then they'd be like, well, no, screw you guys if you think that. So they have to like act like it's okay. And then also there's, of course, the like there's like the international view of the situation in North and South Korea is like drastically fundamentally different from the way that it is in the view of people from both of those countries.
Right.
So like maybe it's a fact. We probably don't get it. We don't understand it the way that they do, the situation and how complicated it is. But that is really weird, especially that they have like things set up for when it happens. Like, as if it's this inevitability. That particularly is just like so interesting.
It's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we went up to this observatory where you can look through the binoculars and like see the North Korean flag on the other side, and it was weird, man.
Yeah.
Spooky. This day was also the first day that I really started to appreciate the fact that I was traveling with a group of students my students are primarily or almost entirely African American and Hispanic American. And Korea is a pretty racially homogenous country.
Right.
So people were like giving us all sorts of like every look in the book we got.
Good, bad.
And on this day was the more not benign, but like like nice racism on this day. Because we were going to this train station, and as we were walking on the sidewalk, a group of like Korean old ladies saw some of our students and saw like their weave, and were like, "Oh my God, so beautiful!" and like tried to like touch their hair. Because it was like, whoa, this is like a thing I have never seen before.
Right. I mean, they probably haven't ever. Right. Oh, boy.
And so our students were like, thank you. Okay. Thank you. And like they were saying the word skinny in Korean to be like, oh my God, you're so skinny, so beautiful. It's like, wow. This is a lot. And then later that day, we went to this place where they dressed us up in the hanbok, which is like the traditional Korean, like I guess ceremonial clothing, or at least a old traditional form of dress. If you want to see what it looks like, it's HANBOK.
BOK, okay. Let's take a peek.
And so we're all wearing this, and then we go to this like palace.
Oh, it's very beautiful.
Yeah, and take pictures and go on a tour of the palace grounds, and it was pretty cool. But then we were definitely getting some looks that day of like, whoa.
What are they doing? What the
fuck?
A
bunch of white people and like black people in this this like traditional
ceremonial
clothing. Yeah. Yeah.
Who had you wear that? Was it the program or?
Yeah, it was part of our itinerary. That there's like
a
place. It was kind of this weird like dress up studio where they have like mirrors and like makeup lights and stuff, and they have these people who like dress you in the clothes. Mm-hmm. And then we walked across the street to the palace. Yeah. Anyway, so then Monday we have a cooking class in the morning where we learn to make kimchi and bulgogi, which was fun. And that's where I learned the thing about the kimchi. Oh, right. The kimchi day thing.
Yep.
Then later on Monday we go to this amusement park called Lotte World. And that was like the most exhausting low point of the trip because everything was just so sounds and color and little kids and like all these like cutesy bear things, and everything was like knockoff Disney stuff. Like they had princess people running around, and they had a big performance going on that I took a video of and I can show you, where it was like the Wizard of Oz characters like ran into Peter Pan, but also like Aladdin's there or something. It was crazy. Clearly, and they have like the same symbol as Disney. Clearly somebody struck a deal with Disney where it was like, hey, you're not going to bother to make a Disney World Korea, right?
Right? You
Can
sure?
we just steal your stuff and do it ourselves? And they were like, yeah. And they had like real rides there, but the chaperone group I was with, we kind of did like not more of the amusements than the rides. We spent a good 30 minutes just like being exhausted and getting frustrated before we did two separate things where you go in to a little theater and there's a screen and there are all these seats, and at your seat you have like a gun, like a light gun, and you play a game with everybody in the theater where you're it's like an on-rails shooter, but everyone is shooting at the same screen.
So is it not like Buzz Lightyear at Disney?
Oh, do they have that at Disney? Everyone does that?
Well, it's like you're in a ride that moves, and while you're in it, you're doing a light gun.
No. It's not, you're not in like a ride. Okay. You're in like you sit down and your chair is stationary. Like a movie theater looking at a screen, basically.
That's interesting.
And one of them was like an Old West thing where your chair was like a horse, and it would like move like a horse up and down while you shoot the screen. And then it shows you at the end like who got the high score. It was cute. And then there was another one that was like a 4D experience, but the fourth dimension was that there were a bunch of big fans at the front of the room.
Oh shit.
That like blow on you.
The wind dimension.
When you're supposed to be moving.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so Lotte World was interesting, but definitely the most exhausting part of the trip. And then that was the day that our students experienced a lot of like bad racism and like body stuff. Like we have one student who's overweight, and she said that this like teenager just pointed to her and kept saying the word for fat in Korean over and over again.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And like this one student that I have, you know her. I don't want to say her name, but I'll tell you who it was later.
Yeah. Is it the one that you refer to as your favorite often?
Probably. She's the one who passes out the papers in my class.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
She's fairly darker skinned.
Uh-huh.
And she had multiple experiences at the amusement park where like someone turned around and saw her, and this happened to her twice, I think, like in line for a ride, and like put their hands up and backed away. And we had another student who was like sitting on a ride, and someone came up to sit next to her and then saw that she was black and like backed away.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then later that evening, when we were at our hostel, we had a big group conversation about it. About that, like the race stuff, and also about the fact that kids were like being really shitty to each other and like talking behind each other's backs or like, whatever, teenage bullshit. So we had this big group conversation, just like letting it all out. And then after that, I was talking to one of my students about other stuff, and he was standing in the doorway of his room, and I was talking to him standing in the hallway. And all these little Korean children were running up and down the hallway back and forth, making a ton of noise and like singing Frozen and stuff. And when they saw me, they were like, hello. That's what they do in Korea. When they see that you're white, they say hello. Very purposefully.
They say in English hello.
Yeah, hello. And this one little girl, like, turned around and out of the corner of the eye saw my student standing in his doorway, and the lights were off behind him. So to her, she turned around and there's this black guy just like peeking out of the doorway, and she screamed.
Seeing the student?
Yeah. And it's like, fuck,
and you're
man.
This is in Seoul, you said?
Yeah. This
isn't like in a rural area where it's like
man, this is Seoul. This is the capital of the country. This is a densely populated urban area.
Mm-hmm. That's fucked, man.
It's crazy.
Like, there's only so much you can do in that situation too. When you're like I'm assuming someone primed them going to Korea, hey, this is gonna happen.
We read this article written by a black woman who was a teacher in Korea for a little while, and she explained her experience.
Yep.
But still, like, that's nothing. That doesn't prepare you for experiencing it.
How bad it's gonna get. Yeah, for sure. Shitty shit.
Then the next 2 days we spent visiting our sister school. So the kids like stayed with their Korean buddies in their dorms. It's like a boarding school. And it was great. We had this welcome ceremony where I gave a speech, and their principal gave a speech, and the kids did performances. Our kids did like a couple dances that were kind of like fine. And then they brought out their K-pop dance group that did this like BTS song, and they danced just as well as BTS.
Oh shit.
It was crazy. And our kids after that looked at each other and they were like, well, we had fun, you guys. We had a good time.
We're good.
We're fine. And then the next day so something that was really odd about this phase of the trip was that while we were at the sister school, there was a lot of like separation between what the kids were doing and what the adults were doing. And we were treated basically by the sister school people as if we were like on a business trip, because their principal and vice principal are these like dudes in suits, like older dudes, more conservative, reserved, like kind of stiff guys who are, and we're like having this dialogue of like, oh, it's very meaningful that our schools are doing whatever. The principal has like this boardroom table in his office. The second day they take us to a fancy dinner where they keep bringing out dishes of food, like small dishes, and it's like raw beef and like lotus root and just random stuff like that. And he keeps picking up things and like reaching out to my plate being like, try this, what do you think of this? And each thing I just eat and I'm like, it's very good. It's delicious.
I love
it. That goes on for like an hour. Oh man. There was one point where there was something that it was like a meat and a vegetable and a fish or something, and it's like, and I immediately, when it comes out, I pick up one of the pieces and I put it in my mouth as he's explaining that the correct way to eat it is to stack all three things on top of each other and eat them all at once. So then I like pick up the other two and put them in my mouth while the one thing's in my mouth. Just tons of little faux pas like that. Yeah, it's crazy. And then the second day, our kids and their kids had like a conversation, a big group class conversation about the differences between American culture and Korean culture. Mm-hmm. And the Korean teachers, or their English teachers, expressed concern to us the day before of like, oh, in Korea, like kids don't debate. There isn't that culture because the assumption is like, if someone's older than you, they are correct. And you like listen to what they say. So they try to get their kids to disagree with them in class, but the kids are like, no, there's a right answer. And like, you're the teacher, so you know what the right answer is. So I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
And so it's like really hard to get them to talk about their opinions in that context. So they were like, let's just make it shouldn't be like a structured debate. Let's make it like a casual thing. And we'd been told it was a debate. So our kids prepared a presentation.
Yeah. So
two of our kids present, and they talk about like, race, standards of beauty, social media. Like, here are some of the comparisons we can draw between American culture and Korean culture.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole group discussion with 21 of our kids and about 21 of their kids. And one of their kids is asked a question. He's like, oh, you said this beauty standard stuff, whatever, or he asked a question. And the dynamics of this conversation were so fascinating because their students barely spoke. And our students, it would be like 15 kids in a row saying the same thing as what somebody else just said.
Yeah.
And it was like...
Theirs was like that or yours was like that?
Our kids were like that.
Okay.
Of like... Their kids barely said anything at all. They just kind of like nodded along and like asked some questions.
Yeah.
And then our kids, so for example, they talked about like inclusion, like race and sexuality and whatever. Mm-hmm. And they talked about like their experiences, and they had different experiences. Some kids were talking about being from like a mixed race family. Some kids talked about being queer or things like that.
Yeah. And
the tone of what they were saying was like, this experience is what I've had. But like, we should just accept everyone, and like, people shouldn't be different. And so one kid was like, but who needs labels? Like labels are just like bad. That's like the tone of what they're saying. And then they kind of move into talking about beauty, standards of beauty, and like how it's hard for some of them to find certain shades of makeup or just ways that they felt not beautiful. And then the tone of what they're saying is, but you just have to love yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror and like tell yourself what you love about yourself because you're beautiful. Damn. And like you should tell your friends that like they're beautiful because they're beautiful. And they're snapping for each other like, yes, girl. Or like, yeah, Raymond, you tell him. And it was nice, but it's like, you guys, there's a room full of these Korean students who are silent right now.
Right. As
you're like cheering each other on about, honestly, pretty bland arguments. Like, yeah, we should love everyone, and yeah, we should love ourselves, and everyone's beautiful. Cool. Let's have a dialogue. It just illustrated.
That doesn't seem like it has a lot to do though with like that's a conversation they could also just have here.
Right.
That's
the essence of it, is that they were just saying things that they could say here, and they weren't really talking with the Korean students. So I just found that was an interesting dynamic where the American students are like really good at offering opinions and celebrating each other and like voicing self-love. And also, to be fair, really good at being vulnerable in front of a group, which is an important skill.
Absolutely.
Like one of our kids being able to say, I'm bisexual. in front of a room that's like half strangers and some of their teachers is really powerful. Another 100%. And then another student being able to say right away, like, I'm pansexual.
Yeah.
Or another student being able to say, like, I'm from a mixed race family and like my siblings are lighter skinned than I am and my relatives comment on it all the time. That's a really powerful thing for them to be able to do. But there was no like curiosity about this other culture, these other students.
Yeah, like what is? Oh God, yeah, that feels like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and then they started moving into talking about like when I was in 9th grade, like, you know, I didn't really have a lot of friends, and then some of our students started to like cry and talk about challenges they've had with like depression and anxiety and feeling isolated, which again, really powerful that you can be that vulnerable. But also like, I was just trying to imagine the experience of being a Korean high school student who like, you live your normal life of kind of like following along. And then one day, 21 American kids bust through the door and they are like, you know, they're bold and they're loud and they're like boisterous and happy, and then they all start crying. And it's just like, whoa.
You're like, cool, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, I hope that was like an awakening experience for them, because it's so different, I'm sure, than what they are used to.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
Also, other interesting racial thing. One of the chaperones I was with, this guy Chris that I work with, he's like a very handsome, tall, white guy. And so every single one of their female students, when they saw him in the hallway, they like covered their face and giggled and like turned and tried to run away. Or like, we're like, hello, very openly. Or we're like, oh, you're so handsome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So there's this kind of like awe and worship of his like handsome whiteness.
I'm like conflicted, right? Because I don't want to have my reactions to any of this be like, man, what a weird culture. Anyways, like I'm trying to interrogate in myself what in me is like, that's different. And I know it's just like because it's different, I'm like not understanding it fully.
Yeah.
And it's so different. But I'm just trying to figure out like why is that, and is like what's the merit to those differences, and you know, how do those differences make us good?
Definitely. It's still something that I'm trying to sort through myself. Mm-hmm. So then we leave the sister school on Thursday. We check out a Buddhist temple, which is a cool experience. And then we get Korean barbecue and we do karaoke, and then we go home. And
bury the lead. You did Korean karaoke. Fuck out of here.
I was in a not great mood when we did it, so I didn't take full advantage of it. But there is something special about belting out Bohemian Rhapsody in like a small, hot room that cost like $5 for an hour.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. And that's it. That's what I got.
And there's the Korea police coming for you.
They're coming to get me.
So that ended up being how many days again? Sorry?
About a week.
A week. Damn. What was your living situation like? Were you like in a nice...
We were in a hostel for... I mean, they say hostel, but it was very hotel-like for 4 days, I think. Then when we were at the sister school, the teachers stayed at this like business hotel.
Oh.
And then we were at another hotel on our last night.
But that's mostly just for sleeping. Like you're out the whole day, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, it sounds like a fucking interesting time. I know you were saying like as your first experience going that far overseas, specifically to Korea, you might not want to go again at least soon.
Yeah, I don't. There are other places that I want to go and would feel like I knew what I wanted to do as like a tourist on my own.
Right.
I don't think I'd know what I would want. I don't have a strong reason to go on my own or like with a friend.
Yeah.
To Korea.
It's weird. It's like I've wanted to go to different countries in Asia for so much of my life, and I have never even considered Korea. I mean, like Seoul specifically, and like as I get more into K-pop, I'm like, wow, what a beautiful culture. But like, honestly, a lot of the stuff that I love that's exported from Korea has nothing to do, or has very little to do.
It's very Western.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I like your exports, which is frustrating. Like, obviously they have their own culture, but like every time I watch, like, you know, I'm that guy who gets those YouTube videos that are like, it's twice hanging out in their limo going to a concert, and they all have the masks on because there's so much pollution. And like, you know, everyone's very polite when they come through. It seems like you were saying, a very like organized society, like way cleaner than they are here.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It also just doesn't seem different enough to warrant. It's like in the ways that it's different might not be accommodating to me.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Especially as like a fat queer Middle Eastern kid, I'm like,
right.
I don't know if I make sense. But yeah. Very very edifying for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll plan our next big trip soon.
Yeah, boy.
Get you and me going to Japan, and we'll take over the whole country. That is gonna do it for this episode of ChatzNightz. So we hope you enjoyed this free episode of ChatzNightz, folks. We do this every 2 weeks. We try to do this every 2 weeks. And we haven't really missed a week, though. We always catch up.
Oh, yeah, we're fine.
And it's a lot of fun. It's usually, sometimes we'll just like hang out and watch videos or talk about stuff. We have a big backlog of episodes. Patreon.com/ChatzPod, ChatzPod. That is completely separate from the weekly Chats, a television podcast show that we keep putting out for free. And you can get this for $5 a month. In addition, you get a monthly commentary, or we watch a movie with you. So, thank you, Magellan, for being my co-pilot.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being my pilot.
And if Magellan doesn't come back from South Korea on time,
he will die.
He will die. And have a good night.
Night.
Bye.